Well, hey, you beautiful humans. I hope you're doing well out there. I thought I needed to jump on and do an additional intro to the episode that was supposed to drop last Friday. I am also live on our Instagram right now at hardtalkswithbnh. So if you're watching live, I love you guys. I appreciate you. You're amazing and you're doing the damn thing. And I hope you know how important you are. I felt like I owed you guys a little bit of an explanation as to why I've been MIA lately. Like that was something I was super proud of, us posting something every single week. We got 44 weeks strong and I broke it. And I've been kicking myself all week over it. But it finally got to the point where it's like, I can't kick myself over this, you know? When you're going through it, you need to be patient with yourself. And it's okay if you don't have the motivation to, even get out of bed sometimes. Sometimes that's necessary. You owe it to yourself to take a day, take a breather, reground, and figure out what you're doing. Before I start cursing like a sailor, this is an 18 and up show, you know. I am going to dub in this introduction into the episode that was supposed to drop last week. So it is a little outdated. I do talk about Halloween still, but it is a really good episode because someone special is on it, and I know you guys are going to be super stoked. It's a great episode. I just haven't had the motivation to even come down here. When they say when it rains, it pours, it really does, and bad things come in threes, it kind of seems that way. And all the cliches, they're all real. You hate them because when you're going through it, a cliche is the last thing you want to hear. But when you're finally at the end of the tunnel, you're like, oh my God, no wonder cliches are cliches. It makes sense. But I'm not at liberty to get into specifics, but I lost my job. My contract was terminated. Been going through some heartache. I've been very sick. And I just have been trying to keep a mellow balance between happiness and, actually trying to relearn the true definition of what that means, because like love, there are so many different levels to happiness. Happiness is reward driven, right? Joy is a feeling. I've been trying to get back to the basics and really figure out what brings me joy. And podcasting is one of the highest on the list, but the reason I haven't even been able to get on social media really is because I just haven't. I don't want to get on a soapbox ever, or I don't ever want to come down here and feel like I'm preaching positivity or, whatever, follow your bliss bullshit if I'm not listening to myself. You know what I mean? I tried really hard to get the episode edited and dropped by Friday, but I was let go Thursday, and then I was sick all weekend, and every day that's passed this week so far, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it's okay. I have tomorrow. There's tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and it's just like, I just haven't had the energy. So I've been trying to regroup, again, find what drives and fuels my passion, and get out of bed and brush my teeth and shower. So small things first, you guys. I want to be real with you guys. I want to be honest always. And I didn't feel like it was fair for me to come down here and pretend to be okay when things weren't okay. And then I had a coming to Jesus moment last night when I was going to bed, just feeling like shit. I got the vaccine. That's a whole nother conversation. I got the J&J shot, and ever since, I have not been right. I have not been right. Like, it's just been, I just feel like I've just been in a haze, and I'm just spinning my wheels, and everything is so hard. Like a simple thing with it should be simple. It's never simple. Why? Yeah. So yeah, I've just, yeah. How many times can I say yeah in a sentence? Let's count. But now that I've taken the time to throw myself a very nice and sufficient enough pity party, it's time to start hustling. It's time to start grinding. That's one of the things I've really been thinking about is like, okay, I could sit on the couch and wallow in my misery and think about how things are so hard, or I can get up, get dressed, and do something that will actively push me towards my goal. It may be something really small, like updating my recording calendar, for God's sake. God knows I need to. As long as it's something productive, it doesn't matter how big or small it is. You just have to put your foot forward and take that first step. And more cliches, and I'm living by them day to day. But I've been getting your guys' emails, and I've been getting your guys' messages, and I just can't thank you enough. I know I haven't been as responsive as I normally would be. I just want you to know that it has nothing to do with you. This is not a breakup. I just needed to take the time for myself, even though I was thinking about you guys every day, and that was a little more, part of my anxiety in the sense that I was like, I need to get this episode out. I need to get it out. I finally had to stop and be like, it's going to be okay. It's okay. You're still consistent and you're still going strong, and people care and people have noticed, and I care about you guys so much. Thank you to the people who have asked if everything's okay, or have asked where their next dose of hard talks is. When we started this production, it really was a dream, and based off of our newest motto around here, we're not calling it a dream anymore. It's a fucking plan. So that's what it is. You guys are making our plan a reality. And I feel your love and I feel your support. And, you guys, I just want you to know that I'm going to keep rocking, and I'm rocking for you. Rocking for you, and I'm rocking for myself. But you guys make it all worthwhile. Just all the love and positivity the podcast page has been getting in our email. I can't thank you guys enough. And I appreciate your patience. You guys, my phone's beeping, my computer's beeping. You always have so much patience, and you guys are funny as shit. You guys know my coping mechanism is always through humor, and I've been getting a lot of funny memes and jokes, and the appreciation, there are not enough words to express it. So, that being said, I'm going to drop the episode from last Friday tomorrow. It's going to be fabulous. I really enjoyed actually listening back to it after not listening to myself for a whole week from editing. It was actually kind of nice. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not as sick of my voice anymore. Like, I could actually get through an editing sesh without distracting myself or multitasking at the same time. Anyway, I'm really excited for this drop, and I hope you guys like it. And I'm just going to plug this in to the episode. Thank you guys for coming to my Hard Talks session. And remember, whatever you're going through, it's temporary. You guys are strong, and you're going to make it through whatever it is. I love you, and I hope you have a great day.
Is this taboo?
Happy day to you, you beautiful creatures, and happy Halloween if you're listening to this on Halloween. It is this Sunday as of this recording date. You guys know what you're listening to. It's Hard Talks with a Blonde and a Hippie. I'm your trippy hippie Alicia, jumping on the mic from good old Utah, and I'm joined today with a very special someone. It's a surprise. Can you say hello to my co-host, Sarah?
Hey, your bum bitch is back.
Yes, she's fucking back, guys.
Woo.
Hold on, give me applause.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Sarah, I'm so happy to have you back. And you're also in studio with your beautiful, beautiful little girl.
She's latched.
Yes.
It's fine.
Hey, that's the best way to go about it, right?
I mean, manual. My uncle says, he's like, do you feed her manual? Yes.
Manually.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Pump action.
Yeah, right. It's a little pump. It's fine.
No, dude, you actually weren't supposed to be on for another couple of weeks, but in the spirit of the holiday and you coming to visit me,
Here
I was
be.
like, hey, you want to just jump on and record a quick Halloween episode?
Absolutely.
And Sarah's always accommodating.
I mean, hey-o.
Heyo. So you guys know it's an 18 and up podcast. We curse like sailors, talk all things controversial, difficult, taboo, inappropriate. Today we are going to talk to you. I'm going to tell Sarah some urban legend stories because if you guys listened to the last episode, you know I kind of went down a rabbit hole in the very end, and I was like, there really is a grain of truth in every story, you know?
I mean, shit. Okay. Side note. Those, like, what are they? They're like writings on the walls.
Petroglyphs?
Yes. If you think about it, our brains are not smart enough to come up with shit, right? Well, hello. Alien is the one symbol, right? Like, we know that that's just like the alien symbol. Well, there's some petroglyphs of that. And they wrote shit down.
A lot of people think that UFOs are responsible for the pyramids.
AKA aliens are real.
Well, for sure. And we're going to dive into that. I was like, man, I feel like every city, every town, even neighborhood has its own story. You know, when I was a kid, there was this old abandoned house at the very end of our neighborhood, kind of near a forested area.
Of course.
Yep. And a lot of kids went there and graffitied, played paintball, and there became this lore about the house, about how a family used to live there. And it even had a name. It was the Gentile House. It's off Gentile Road. But this whole story, everybody knew about this house because supposedly the father went a little mad one day, killed his whole family, butchered them up, chopped them into pig feed, and fed it to his livestock, and then
Basically anything, though.
and then do they?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
They do. Fact check me, bitch.
And we eat pigs, so
Get that into your mind.
then he committed suicide, and the whole scary part of this house was that it was haunted, that he was haunting the house forevermore. And I mean, it was a creepy house, but if you put enough energy and belief into something, it's easy to spook yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it got me thinking, and it got me digging a little bit more. I was like, what is like some of the biggest urban legends from around the country? And let me begin to tell you, fam, there is a famous urban legend from every single state. Obviously, we're going to start in Utah because that's where you're listening to us from. But the lore doesn't end with our neighborhoods. And as I said in the last episode, between the powers of imagination, fear, and real life events, urban legends are born. Utah isn't just beautiful in nature, but it also offers up a rich native history, feeling some spooks and legends that we hear about today. The Uinta Basin is actually, this one's for you, Sarah. The Uinta Basin of eastern Utah has also been named the hotbed of paranormal sightings over the years.
Kay's Cross. Whoa.
Kay's Crossing, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Some extraterrestrial enthusiasts have even deemed it like the UFO Valley.
I believe it 110%.
Yeah. I mean, between Utah and Arizona and Nevada and New Mexico, lots of UFO sightings.
They must like us over here.
Or maybe it's just like all the open space. I don't know.
But when they want that, like, where like there's like farms and crops.
Yeah.
We don't have very many farms and crops here. Oklahoma, where are you at?
Well, we could do a whole episode talking about aliens because you know I love it. But we're here to talk about all the legends. And I think one of the most renowned ones from the state of Utah, it does include UFOs. You've heard of Skinwalker Ranch?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep. Also known as Sherman Ranch. It's a property located on about 512 acres in Uinta County. And it is reputed to be the site of paranormal and UFO-related activities dating back since the 30s.
I would not want to own that piece of property.
Yeah, it's like owned by the government now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Its name is taken from the Skinwalker of Navajo legend about vengeful shamans. Reportings of strange crop circles,
Hey.
repeated mutilated cattle, and really odd surgical and bloodless attacks.
Why is it always cows?
I don't know.
Have you noticed that it's always cows?
It reminds me of the little vampire.
Yeah.
When
it's
they
always
would suck
cows.
the blood of cows.
Yeah, it's always a cow.
They
Why
became
is it
vampire
a cow?
cows. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
See, like in like the little weird UFO things and like the little beam come down, they're always taking a cow.
I know. Beam me up, Scotty. Like,
Always a goddamn cow.
if Hannah was here, a friend that she's been on the show several times, you know her. She knows all about cows. She could probably tell us.
Why they would take the cows?
Yeah, I don't know.
I need to know why.
They're gentle creatures. That's
Are
probably
they,
what
though?
she'd say.
They're freaking. They will trample you.
Are you thinking about like bulls?
No,
Like
cows.
female
Mama
cows?
Mama cows are scary.
Get territorial.
Well, yeah, don't you?
I mean, mama bear, but not a mama cow.
I'm a mama cow.
Yeah.
The
Well,
body
you are
I
a
have
milk-
now. Yeah, I
milk,
mean, hey,
milk cow.
I am manually feeding my baby as we speak.
Gear shift it.
Switch boobs. Let's go.
UFO sightings, mystical creatures, and paranormal happenings are common at one of Utah's most infamous historical sites. Access has been restricted to the ranch for years, but those looking for a fear-filled night venture out to Roosevelt, Utah, and have pictures of ominous-looking creatures to prove it. Forrest, your favorite, good old Forrest, he's been out to Skinwalker Ranch, and he has creepy fucking photo of like these glowing eyes and this. I'm gonna post it to the page, but
110% believe that shit.
yeah, I believe there's also a documentary about Skinwalker Ranch on Hulu now. If you're curious, little curious cats.
And it was also Ghost Adventures.
Yeah,
He did it. He did an
Yeah.
episode on that too. If you want to find that.
there's a lot of
Online
paranormal
Discovery.
hot spots in Utah. Like I know,
Ogden, the Ogden Canyon is just a whole.
but like the Tooele Hospital, that's now that haunted house, Asylum 49.
It's still a hospital. Half of it's a hospital, half of it's a haunted house.
I didn't know half of it was. That's crazy.
I think I read that somewhere or heard that somewhere. But see,
I
again,
think I did.
Ghost Adventures, he went
Yeah.
there too. And so
Yeah.
I think he was the one that said it was like still half an operation. So,
I don't think I'd want to go to that hospital.
no, I think I'm good.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, like,
But, you know, another one that I found interesting that I'd never really heard about, but kept popping up when I was doing my research is the curse of Escalante Petrified Forest. Have you ever been out to Escalante?
no.
It's fucking beautiful. It's a lesser known state park in the state of Utah.
Obviously. Escalante.
Yeah,
Petrified forest.
it's common sense, and actually a law that you aren't allowed to take anything from national parks or reserves, rock, dirt, anything zip, nada. It's to help like preserve nature and
What if you take boo on your shoes?
well, I mean,
And then what?
I think you're okay. If a few rocks get in the boots, I mean, you're probably gonna kick them out
Oops.
anyways. But anyway,
I'd
whatever.
take a rock in my shoe.
Yeah, but Escalante Petrified Forest is absolutely beautiful. Like I said, located a half-mile north of the town of Escalante off Scenic Byway 12. It's the colorful. I cannot talk.
Colorful.
It's the colorful petrified wood that's been mineralized into rocks over millions of years that draws people in from all over the world, actually. And that's why it's so worth preserving. But the myth developed in the early 30s as well that stealing this petrified wood and rocks would bring you bad luck. Now, I know what I feel your stares. We can easily assume that said curse was probably fabricated by the rangers working there to preserve these areas or, government officials, sure. But the Utah...
You don't know that.
Yeah, because it gets weird. The Utah State Park receives as many as a dozen letters and packages from previous visitors every single year, returning petrified wood that they lifted and telling stories of strings of bad luck. Accidents, lost jobs, car crashes, to even grimmer misfortunes like broken bones, news of terminal cancer, family deaths, and the list goes on.
How much petrified wood did they take?
There was one guy that took a 30-pound rock.
Did he get terminal cancer?
And in my readings, he said that paying to ship it back was worth it if he got rid of the curse.
Damn.
Yeah. Some letter senders even wrote back and expressed that their luck had started getting better after shipping the rocks off. Yeah, I even said that. One guy even shipped in a 30-pound rock. Wonder how his luck was when it was shitty, since it was such
I
a
want to
big...
know, because that's a big ass.
How did he get it out of the park?
That's 30 pounds. That is more than Caroline. She's 3 months. That's a small child to take out.
That's a dog.
How much does Elliot weigh?
Like 47 pounds.
That's like 10 pounds off of Elliot.
Yeah.
That's a small,
That's a small boulder.
that is a legit a small boulder.
I like that boulder.
That is,
That's a nice boulder.
that's a nice boulder.
Now I'm sure you guys listening to, you're like, yeah, okay, Alicia, curse rocks. Real cool.
Go take one and then let's see what happens.
Exactly. And you might be closer to some of these petrified cursed rocks than you think, all right? Because what's crazier is there are other legends incredibly similar to this in Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico, describing curses on the land from varying indigenous tribes, stating that if you steal from the land, it will steal from you.
That makes sense.
So next time you go, put a cool rock in your pocket.
Think about that.
Yeah, maybe think twice.
You're not just putting a rock in your pocket.
No.
You're taking shit home.
No, really.
Literally, Chase brings shit home all the time.
That's like Elliot. He's a rock fiend. He's always got a plumber's crack because
Oh, no, I'm
rocks
saying
are...
like he brings home, like if we go somewhere.
bad energy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've
Just
talked
something,
about
like,
that.
cause like, quick story. Last night we were watching Dynasty. Have you guys ever seen that? I'm in the second season, like episode 15, 14 or whatever. And she was talking and she like slams her hand down on this apple. And right as that happened, something upstairs fell and it was loud. But the dog
In your house?
yeah. In our house, the dog was laying on the carpet right there. We could see him, and Marvin was laying next to Chase.
Nope. No.
Yeah.
That was last night?
Mhm.
So,
The exact same moment, like it, she smashed. But that's like what happened too with like Jerry and stuff. Like at their old house, like they were watching a show, and some like they're like in the TV show, like a gunshot went off, and as they had it in the corner of the TV, like kind of pointing at the light, and as the gun went off, the light exploded.
oh, no. No.
Yeah, Chase, I don't know. I don't feel it. I'm all like, what? Did you hear something? No.
I think Chase and Elliot share that common bond because the past couple episodes I've been telling everybody about all the weird things that have been happening in this house.
Because Elliot can he's like a
He senses that.
medium.
Yeah, and he still won't tell me the name of his new imaginary friend. So that's a thing. But yeah, we're rolling with it. And I even had that realization in the last
Set
episode.
boundaries.
I'm talking about like the history of All Hallows Eve, you know what I mean? And how, and the common belief in all cultures when it comes to Halloween. Granted, it dates back to pagan rituals,
Let's be
pagan
honest.
religion. But
BC.
BC. Before
1800
what?
BC.
Before what?
Because what?
But like the veil is thinning, and I was like, oh my God, you guys, I'm such a fucking idiot. Like, no wonder like my ghosty friend is like acting up now and playing tricks on me. Like, it's becoming very apparent now. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
Maybe that's why they knocked them off in our house.
Yeah, you see, I think they just have a little more strength this time of year, a little more force to be known, to be reckoned with. Anyway, let's move on to our neighbor state. And a lot of you, like, of course,
Colorado? Nevada?
Idaho.
That's neighboring would be like next door. So like our above state.
Our
'Cause they're above us.
above apartment neighbor that
They're in
parties and
they're in
dances too
they're
hard.
in 4B.
Yeah, 4B with their heels on.
No, they're 4C because like we're in the middle. So
Apartment living, I don't miss that, where you had to take a broom and like slam it into the ceiling and be like, hey, quiet up there.
I know, like at the salon, you can hear them like, are they vacuuming? Yes, they are.
Someone dying up there?
Someone's making a smoothie.
Are they fucking?
That's at night, I hope. We're not there.
I hope it's in the daytime. For their sake.
You want to hear it?
Well, I mean, no.
No, I guess they got to think about it. Like they have like an upstairs to like our upstairs.
In the salon?
Yeah. So their bedroom would be like upstairs, so we wouldn't hear it.
You and I are officially coworkers
Are
again.
you so excited?
Yeah, we'll talk about that on another episode.
Let's do it.
But good old Idaho, you probably are wondering like why I picked it, but what I read was so funny. I had to include it in my list of states. It's funny because like people up in Potato, they're just a little hot-headed.
What was that?
Potato.
Okay, I'm gonna steal that because we have an Idahoan in our family.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling it a potato hoe.
Yeah, they're just a little hot-headed up there. If you didn't listen to episode 28, you definitely should, because me and my sister got yelled at by a native Idahoan. But while I was bebopping around this rabbit hole, I learned that some people in the world who have never been to the Midwest or country, get ready, they actually think that the state itself is a myth.
Idaho?
Yes. And that is why it's on the list.
They don't believe in Idaho?
Yes. Don't come for me, Idahoans. I love you. But this is a legit theory that people fucking believe. Google it.
Why?
Yeah, much like that the earth is flat.
Yeah.
You know, like there's like a prominent following of people, flat earthers, that still think the earth is fucking flat. And,
True that.
you know, we just may never understand.
There's no Idaho.
Yeah.
Is it like trying to like think we're making a joke?
No.
I always call it Idaho.
Idaho. Well, you are Idaho.
I'm not a hoe.
Oh.
I don't go to Idaho. Idaho.
I've been to Idaho a few times this year. Guess I'm Idaho.
Idaho.
I'm Idaho. Anyway, the general consensus to outsiders is that Idaho was put on the map because cartographers needed a barrier to separate Utah from Canada and Montana from Washington, or vice versa. I mean, could you imagine how big Montana was if we didn't have an Idaho?
Yeah.
It'd be probably the biggest state in the country. Why those surrounding states are cooler than Idaho, I don't really know, but apparently the gem state doesn't exist at all. But oh wait, it's not alone.
Where do they get their potatoes from?
From fucking
Montana?
Russia. I don't know.
Russia.
They don't have anymore. They're making too much vodka.
Yeah, they don't need potatoes.
Vodka's made from potatoes, Sarah. Your face. It really is. Vodka's made from potatoes, so Russia has plenty plenty of those. Moving on.
But mind you, a lot of people think that North Dakota and Nebraska supposedly don't exist either.
OMG.
I can't make that stuff up. The rationale against Idaho's actuality can be boiled down to 3 assertions, kind of like the bullshit COVID argument we've heard in the beginning from everyone. I know you remember. Like, well, I don't know anyone who had COVID.
Now everyone has it?
Yeah, so it must not be real. Same premise. Do you know anybody from Idaho? Have you ever been to Idaho? Do you know anyone that's ever been to Idaho? Yes, us. But for most, the answer is no. And so therefore, Idaho cannot be.
Makes sense.
Fucking.
Well, there's Idahoans. They just like to, like, they're like close-knit little families and like, don't leave Idaho. If you leave Idaho, you're not Idahoan anymore.
They just don't exist. But maybe that's why they're so angry. They're compensating.
They're just so small.
I know. Anyway, they also have a ton of urban legends to do with a lot of different bodies of water. And one of my favorites that my Aunt Julie used to tell me as a kid.
Bear Lake?
No, but that was a big one.
Loch Ness Monster?
So there's Bear Lake bordering Utah and Idaho, and there's said to be a lake monster in it. I don't know if it's friendly or not. I didn't dive into that one.
Loch Ness Monster, of course he's friendly.
But this one is called The Legend About the Water Babies of Massacre Rocks. It is a sinister tale, Sarah, so just hold on. But like I said in the beginning, we find that in most urban legends, they're pretty fucked up. Massacre Rock State Park is known for being a major part of the Oregon Trail, so a lot of death.
Oregon or
Yeah.
Oregon?
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 Or Oregon?
Like your organ? Like your kidney?
My Oregon?
Your Oregon.
Sounds like origami. Shut up. I missed you so much.
Good to be back, people. It's good to be back.
Settlers from the east passed through what is now the state park on their journey westward. Massacre Rocks got their name from like a small passage through the trail that people had to pass through, and pioneers were worried about being ambushed from native tribes, even though there were never any verified altercations that happened there. That's how Massacre Rock got its name, just because it was a good place to ambush somebody.
It makes sense. Like, maybe like they're like walking through and they can't see and they're like, hey, man.
Yeah, and a lot of people died on their journey westward. So still
Probably at that rock.
Still a lot of death. But the story varies depending on which legend you hear. The thought is the same. Long ago, this was the scene of an incredibly awful, sad incident. The popular belief is that the Native Americans who first settled the area went through a harsh famine. And that's a fucking understatement. They were downright starving to death. In the haze of a little madness, the natives decided that there wasn't enough food to feed any more people. So mothers, not wanting to see their own babies starve, went down to the river and drowned them instead.
That's
Fucking
horrible.
tragic. Other variations
I mean,
of
like, what's like a worse death? Starving to death or just like a quick drowning?
I don't know. I'd
Yeah, 'cause
probably
you gotta
want to
think-
drown.
You gotta think about it, because like when you started it, like you have like what 3 days until you have to eat.
No, you can go 3 weeks without food.
Okay,
3 days without water.
3 days out of the water. But like just think like your body, like you're slowly dying,
No energy. Your body's like eating itself.
basically. I mean,
From the inside out.
unless you're like fall asleep and don't wake up. But like when you get drowned,
Well, I think
that's
after
just horrible. Like no mother should have to go through.
no, I think after a certain point, maybe your heart would give out. I mean,
Maybe like you just like stop and you're like walking down the street like "Ugh,
yeah, I mean,
die over.
dehydration, being emaciated. I don't know.
That's just horrible.
Horrible. But other variations of the myth say that this happened to a group of white settlers during the 1800s, but no one can say for sure. When visiting the area, there's no doubt that it is a fucking beautiful place. But as the legend goes, you should be careful. It is said that these spirits try to lure humans into their death in order to avenge their short lives and heartbreaking deaths. It is said that after the baby's deaths, they changed and grew fins and gills in order to survive in the depths of water. Hence the water babies.
Okay, again with the ghost adventures. Isn't that out in Salt Lake?
No, this is in Idaho.
Okay, there's a story like that out in Salt Lake at the Salt Lake Flats, and how they said they have water babies out there too.
So water babies are renowned in a lot of different cultures and places.
Yeah, because like he was saying on Ghost Adventures, like in the Salt Lake Flats, how they're like it used to be an amusement park, and it like
By the
flooded.
Great Salt Tear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it like flooded, and then like there's like kids that like will like lure people out into the water.
Kind of like sirens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're called like water babies.
People have reported seeing these water spirits playing in the canals and rivers in the Massacre Rocks area. Don't believe me? Go see for yourself.
I'm good.
If you go down to the riverbank, you may just hear the distant sound of a baby crying for its mother.
I just like my mama heart. Just like things make me so much more sad now.
I know.
Like after having a kid, I'm like,
I get it now. I get it.
God, if I went out there now, that like my booze would like start leaking. Be like, where's the baby? I'm gonna feed it.
Where's the ghost baby? Let me feed you.
Honestly,
Ghost baby, let me take it.
come on, little ghost baby, I'll feed you.
Yeah, so
That would be weird.
I had to mention that just because I grew up hearing that legend whenever we'd go camping in the non-existent state of Idaho. And I just thought that was fucking funny that people really don't believe it's a place.
I love that.
The people up there, they're just like backwoods people. They're not native to anywhere.
They're just in that mysterious place called Idaho. Idaho, not me.
Idaho. Literally.
Idaho.
Let's skip down to Texas.
Texas Massacre.
God.
Chainsaw Massacre.
That movie is horrible. That was based off of a real dude.
I was just going to say that it was like real life.
Yeah, I haven't watched those since I was young. Maybe I should start watching horror movies again because it's been a while.
Home Alone.
Home Alone.
The shit that happens here.
Oh, well, yeah. That's probably why I don't watch anything scary very often anymore. But anyways, Texas. A lot of history in Texas. Mm-hmm. Famous for, ghost tracks, fallen soldier spirits, and UFOs too. These are just some of Texas's ghoulish fables.
Texas.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't heard of Roswell, well, get the fuck out from underneath your rock and look it up because that's the biggest UFO case in history. Yeah. That happened in Texas. But some stories stem from historic sites like the Alamo, which have seen violence and devastation in the past. Others are folklore derived from strange occurrences people have encountered throughout the decades. The Lone Star State has its fair share of haunted hotels, restaurants, even theaters, but the most infamous of them all might be the historic resort called Hotel Galvez. The hotel was originally an orphan asylum.
Ooh.
During the Great Storm of Galveston in 1900, almost all the children in the orphanage were killed.
All but 3 kids died out of 93 that were occupying the orphanage. So 90 children were lost, and then 10 nuns. And the massive hurricane that happened a few years ago in Texas, I mean, this was a great massive storm like that. A lot of people died in the area in 1900. And so they rebuilt the hotel on the grounds where the orphanage was. And a lot of people who stay there say that you can hear children running back and forth, laughing, lots of doors opening and closing, apparitions appearing of young children. And they really do believe that it's the souls of those kids who were lost, who lived in the orphanage. Very sad. All of these. Lots of kids dying. Why is it always kids? Their ghosts still lurk inside the building, playing tricks on staff and guests.
Yeah, it was an asylum.
Yeah. It was just like an orphanage.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And
obviously back then, at the turn of the century, they called orphanages asylums. So that's when we hear that, we think of an insane asylum. But it was just an orphanage. And yeah, sadly, everybody who was there pretty much drowned to death. And it's always in violent deaths where hauntings occur, except for your grandma that haunts you or me. But you know what I mean. After the wreckage of the Great Storm of 1900, they tried to put the city back together like we always do. And that's when this impeccable, massive hotel was built. It really is grand. Side note, which I thought was interesting, a lot of presidents stayed there back in the day. It being on the beachfront of the Texas Gulf Coast, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Richard Nixon, and Lyndon B. Johnson all stayed there. So super famous hotel. If you guys have ever been there, definitely email in and tell us what it's like. If you've ever had a ghostly experience, email into hardtalkswithbnh@gmail.com.
They got to go somewhere.
Yeah. And so a lot of people, just like the haunted house in my neighborhood, stumble upon this to witness some of these ghostly children.
So that's fun.
Were you ever that kid that went looking for scary shit?
God, no.
I was.
I don't even do that now.
Oh, I definitely was.
Depending on the time of year, you can even take tours of the hotel. So,
but I mean, like, there's a lot of, what is the fucking word I'm trying to think of?
Like fake stuff.
No, there's lake stuff. No, attractions.
like a lot of these haunted places turn into like tourist attractions. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Like, so there's like these ghost tracks in San Antonio too, and the legend claims that a bus of school children got stuck while crossing the railroad tracks, and the bus was hit by a train.
Ooh.
This was in the 40s, and it was said to kill everyone on board. Today, the children are said to push vehicles stopped on tracks to safety so other motorists avoid their fate. Many people visit the tracks every year with talcum powder that they sprinkle on the back of their car or truck, and it'll capture like the handprints of the ghostly rescuers pushing their vehicles off the tracks. So that it like
sounds cute. Yeah. It's kind of like sad at first, but then it kind of like makes you feel happy because they're like, we're helping you,
trying to save you.
But luckily, they're not vengeful. They're trying to avenge their deaths. Oh my God, those ones.
But it's interesting, like,
well, let's go. Let's put some powder.
Major tragedies like this, become
Good can come out of it. Have you ever seen The Dragonfly?
No.
It's a movie.
Is it good?
Yeah. It's not like scary or anything like about scary stories. It's about like this mom. She goes to like a third world country and her bus gets taken out by mud.
A mudslide.
And she was pregnant, and the dad goes and looks for the baby, and then like this little cute little Indonesian lady comes out with her big boobs hanging out and a little thing in her nose, and she's like, here's your baby, and it has a little dragonfly birthmark on its leg, and he's like, that's my baby, and I'm like,
Did he name it Dragonfly?
I don't know, because he had like his wife was like obsessed with dragonflies, and he had like this little glass dragonfly. It was like those little glass things that aren't like a real dragonfly, but like looks like one, but it's like
a crystal.
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of like that, but like in a circle. And like he kept like she would like send him signs because he's like, well, I lost my baby and my wife. Why do I need to go back there? But then she was all like, no,
it's
like,
funny.
Our baby's there.
It's funny. It's about dragonflies because after my uncle passed away, whenever my grandma sees a dragonfly, she puts those two together.
Yeah, and Chase's cousin's girlfriend, her I think her mom passed and she has a dragonfly tattoo, and she's like, every time I see a dragonfly, it runs through my mom. So I feel like dragonflies are really
somebody write in and tell me, do dragonflies, are they symbolic of something?
Yeah.
Do they represent loss or new growth or what?
Life.
I know butterflies represent like change.
Because you're changing.
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. But I mean,
sorry.
Out of tragedy, so many people find entertainment and they go looking for these things. I was very much guilty of being that punk teenager.
The Gentry house?
The Gentile house.
Sorry, Gentile
yes.
house.
Very, very close. It was a spooky house. It really was.
It's like Jason's house.
One
letter, Jason Hardy.
At 14, we felt like it was very real, the haunting. You know what I mean? It was a very scary place to be. We'd sneak out and go there at night, and a lot of creepy things happen there.
Don't go to Camp Crystal.
Yeah, it could be explained away from hyping each other up and scaring ourselves, I'm sure.
That's what's so fun about it is like you get the story, you go there with a group of friends, and you always have one person there that's like, I don't believe in this. Let me just scare the rest of these little shitlins.
You shitlins.
And then the story begins.
You know, we were talking about like common legends or different reiterations of stories that are heard about in all different cultures. And I think one of the most infamous ones is probably the legend of I can't say her name.
Well,
The legend of La Llorona. She's the weeping woman.
oh, that's a movie now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, mhm. The weeping woman who haunts Texas. I bring this one up because a crying woman in white wandering around bodies of water in many tales, like I said, is known in all sorts of different cultures and regions. Several variations of the legend exist. Some believe she originates from Mexico because she lives strongly there and especially in southern Texas. Her apparition has been known to haunt several locations throughout the state, and you'll hear that she's very similar to the poor mothers who drowned their babies in fictitious Idaho story. Though there are so many versions of La Llorona, the basic story tells us this. A broken-hearted woman, driven to madness from her cheating husband who left her from a younger woman, sought revenge on him and drowned all of her children in a nearby body of water. She wanders the earth for eternity in despair of what she had done. As I said, La Llorona is said to haunt many locations throughout Texas, as well as the American Southwest. It is said that she steals the souls of living children, and she's often invoked by Mexican mothers to frighten their naughty children. Legend has it
awesome.
that if you see La Llorona or a lady in white, you or someone close to you will die within 7 days.
Oh.
So,
Chills.
chills. I don't have my spooky button on here anymore.
I ain't going to
Doody.
Texas.
I know, and of course, like I could have gotten into the Alamo because there's ghostly sightings and so many stories surrounding that place.
Ugh.
So much death, but yeah, if you're curious about, let's see, where was it? Hotel Galvez. I definitely recommend jumping into that rabbit hole because how those poor children died is just very sad. But we don't have time to get into all that. I wanted to skip to Minnesota.
Gotta do Minnesota.
We got to do Minnesota because
We got a Minnesotian.
Minnesotian.
We got a Minnesotian home.
Y'all know I had to cover the state in which most of my childhood memories took place, so I don't want to hear it.
You Minnesotian?
Minnesotian. One of the biggest mysteries in the land of 10,000 lakes wasn't necessarily spooky, but there's so much mystery surrounding it.
So many mystery.
It's called the Kensington Runestone. It was actually discovered in 1898 and is thought to be inscribed with mysterious runic markings alleged to be left behind by Scandinavian explorers in the 1300s.
BC.
Yeah. But I mean, like, this is in fucking Minnesota.
Of all places.
The Scandinavians
Minnesota.
never touched ground in Minnesota, especially in the 1300s. I mean, there's no...
You don't know that?
No trace... I don't, but there's no...
proof right there.
There's no trace in history saying that they ventured out this way.
Just random.
Yeah, it is random. Historians feel as if they actually debunked this rune stone. They feel like it's a hoax left behind from the 19th century. But there are others that seriously still believe it's real.
Well, there's people out there that believe the world is flat. We don't hate you. We love you.
If you don't follow our Instagram page at Hard Talks with BNH, you definitely should, because we do like these questions on our stories. And I did a conspiracy question one day. I was like, what is a conspiracy you believe in? And listeners, I won't say names, but shout out to you. Thanks for listening. A listener wrote back and was like, the earth is flat. And like, we continued a whole conversation about this in our DMs because I was like, please educate me. I just need to understand your perspective. Like, why does that make sense? I don't get it. Do you get it? I don't
No.
get it. No.
There's
Anyway,
pictures of the earth as a globe.
weird, right? Maybe that's the conspiracy. We're just
You're blowing my mind right now. Stop.
The mystery about this whole thing and the big question was, where the hell did this thing come from? And if it was real, how the fuck did it get there? Especially if the Norsemen weren't thought to make land here. You know, it stumped Minnesotians for hundreds of years. Minnesotians. For hundreds of years. And you know
1300 BC, man. I mean, 1300.
1300. We're really stuck on that BC, aren't we?
That just slipped out. My bad.
If you guys don't know that inside joke, I think it was probably like episode 7 or 8.
Oh yeah, it was like the first episodes.
Yeah, where I made a prompter and they changed BC and AD. It's not that anymore in textbooks anymore, though.
It's something weird. Because it was like before Christ and after death, so now it's like
we got to take the Jesus out of everything now. So
I don't know who Jesus is.
The Jeebus. Yeah, but I mean, like, so many people are divided on whether it's authentic or not. It's still actually preserved. You can go check it out yourself. It's at a museum in Alexandria, Minnesota. Oh, and though that little blip may have only been interesting to me,
I liked it.
There are darker tales amidst the North Star State. Some speak of the cannibalistic spirits that haunt Minnesota's tundra and backwoods. If you've ever spent time in northern Minnesota, you may have heard the stories of the Wendigo, a cannibalistic spirit from Native American folklore. Legend holds that humans who resort to cannibalism, either out of desperation or partaking in dark rituals, will be transformed into this 15-foot tall behemoth beastie covered in hair. They have glowing eyes, long fangs, a snake-like tongue, and some say that have seen him, that they're too thin to be seen from the side. But when you view him head on, you'll be met with your biggest nightmare, literally, because in scale, I can't even.
So he basically like disappears on the side?
15 feet.
So is he like paper thin then?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But if, like he's two-dimensional.
It's like that new like Scary Antlers movie that's coming out.
Apparently I don't watch enough TV.
Well, we just went and saw
and
saw Halloween Kills in movie theaters.
That was good. I did see that.
I need to watch like the first one before that because I was like, what the hell? And
I was a little lost too.
Do that? And I'm like, oh, I don't get it.
Good old Jamie Lee Curtis. That was good though. Those kills were good.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it on Peacock, so I got to watch it on my couch.
I know. We haven't been to the movie, and she's like, let's go to the movie. And we got like a babysitter. So I'm like, all right, let's go.
Oh, it was a date.
We had a date night.
Like those little date nights are important.
Love it.
Oh
we got like date night to like Home Depot.
Oh my God. I feel like we're the cool kids. Like, you can't sit with us.
Like, we wear pink on Wednesdays.
Why are we talking like this?
Oh my God.
Are we obnoxious?
So
you guys, you missed us.
Ew, David.
The Wendigo.
Let's go.
These scary looking creatures terrorized ancient native communities in Minnesota for as far back as there were inhabitants there. Some early white settlers even claimed to have encountered these hungry spirits as they'd eat livestock and were rumored to have even eaten the people themselves.
Probably just cows.
Probably cows.
They just like the cow's meat.
As recently as the early 20th century, local natives believed in and hunted for the Wendigo. Not like a fucking snipe hunt. People killed over this shit. And it was very real to them, and it still is very real to a lot of indigenous people.
I thought snipes were real.
I did too, growing up.
I was like, for sure, like, oh my God.
I've been on enough snipe hunts.
We went on a snipe hunt. I literally thought they were, I was like, oh my God.
But for me, I'd always come back and usually be like camping or whatever. The fam would be like, go on a snipe hunt. Go cousins, go. And then come back.
Like, what?
And you'd always be questioning like why your parents were slurring their words a little more.
When we went, I went in girls' camp. And this one girl grabbed,
Mormon girls camp.
Yeah, Mormon. Yeah, if you're LDS, you know what girls camp is.
But if you're not, that's what it is.
I remember one instructor or one lady that we went with grabbed like a little, like, oh, my baby's crying. A little nut thing or like a non-hardened acorn. What is that? A pine cone?
Pine cone?
Can't fucking think.
A non-hardened
Yeah, like when they're like still like they're little green things. and she had it, and she's like, I have a snipe, fill it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like, I don't want to touch a fucking snipe. And then like one girl, she had like in a bag, and she like had her hand in, and she was like shaking it around. I was like freaked out. And then like one girl had a water bottle, and as he squirted out, and she's like, the snipe spit on me. I got spat upon by a snipe.
Your snipe hunt sounds so much more fun. We just were sent out into the wilderness so our parents could have an excuse to get fucked up.
Yeah, no, we went there because it was like a legit. That's why I thought they were so real.
Yeah, slam that hand on the table. You hear it, people? Reminds me of Kevin from Up. The snipe.
Yeah,
Kevin!
God,
Kevin's
I
a girl.
Kevin. Oh my God, Kevin's a girl. I was not know Kevin's a girl.
So, like I was saying, people hunted for the Wendigo. In fact, one of the most
over the Wendigo.
They did. They killed over him. In fact, one of the most famous Wendigo hunters was our homie named Jack Fiddler. Mr. Fiddler, Jack.
Does he have like an own like little like snipe hunting weapon under him? It's called the Fiddler.
Yeah, Jackie boy. He claimed to have killed 14 of these monsters in 1907.
Whoa.
Yeah. A simpler time where anything that came out of a man's mouth was like gospel. Like, oh my God, he killed 14 Wendigos. Epic resume, bruh. Like, fuck.
We need to get a weapon out of you. What is it? The Fiddler?
The Fiddler. Yeah, Mr. Jack Fiddler.
Get the Jack Fiddler.
But y'all are following, right? Like, Wendigos were people first. Remember that. So good old Jack, slain his last monster, but took his last victim in 1914. It was a poor Cree woman whose murder landed Jack and his son on trial for killing her. Thank God they actually took him to trial because this is 1914, and I was actually impressed by that. But he's no behemoth killer. He's just another white guy out murdering women. Just saying.
Who thought
Stupid Jack. Yeah,
something.
Wendigos.
Wendigos. I was like whistleblowers, but that's wrong.
Jackie Boy's defense literally was that this poor woman was about to transform into a Wendigo, and he had to kill her to stop her from killing and eating others.
Oh,
but
so
you know,
he didn't really kill Wendigos. He just went out and was like, you know what?
Yeah, he just killed women.
You're turning into a Wendigo. I'm going to kill you.
Native women. But yeah, and you know, what had me scratching my head about this whole statement was, how did they know she was going to transform? You know, 100 years of legends say that you have to eat human flesh to become a Wendigo. And I don't know, was our poor lady like werewolfing it out in the woods, eating some guy's throat out when it happened?
Yes.
Or like, were they just like some goons who blatantly murdered 14 humans?
Some good that blatantly murdered 14 innocent people.
Yeah. You can't just go changing ancient stories, Jackie. You're fucked.
I mean, he used that to his advantage.
But you do have to wonder, you know, if so many people tell the same story and believed in it so much that they'd kill for it,
Has to be real.
aren't we ignorant to not believe that there's any kernel of truth in it?
Look at those petroglyphs.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have, like, your human mind, the human brain is literally not that, like, creative to make up a whole new face.
Well, we're pretty creative, but there's always an influence that sparks it. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you have dreams.
Sometimes it's subliminal. It could be something super small.
Yeah, like, you would, like, literally, like, in your dreams, like, say, like, the main character, you've never seen that person before. Well, you could have, like, literally seen them from, like, your peripheral vision of walking down the street somewhere, and that face stood out to you for whatever reason. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you.
So people are like, we're really smart, but like, it's not that, like, we're not creative enough to make up a whole new face.
Just like that phrase, there's two sides to every story. Each person has their side to tell. But if you take both stories and then boil all the bullshit and biases off, somewhere in the middle, that's where the truth lies.
There's always a truth to a story.
Yeah.
There's always you cannot always, like, you cannot lie. You cannot make up a lie.
Well, it's so interesting because, like, vampires, that stemmed from the stories of Count
Dracula.
Well, he was a real Count. Oh, fuck, I'm going to get reamed for this. Dracul.
That makes sense.
He was a count in Romania and
would drink the blood.
Yeah, he went savage one day, had all of the important lords and ladies over at his castle for dinner and fed them all food and then had his army slaughter them all. impaled him. He was Vlad the Impaler. That's where the story of Dracula stems from. You had hundreds of people just impaled right outside of his castle, and the story of drinking their blood came from he liked to watch their slow deaths. He got pleasure out of this. So he'd go out into the courtyard, slit their throats, drain their blood, and dip his bread in and eat it.
Ooh.
It's funny because, well, that wasn't funny at all. Vlad the Impaler was a fucking murder.
Horrible, but I mean,
But,
hey, that's how it became.
Yeah, vampires
Dracula.
became romanticized, and the story really gained.
I really like Vampire Diaries. I like their vampires.
Well, you did name your daughter Caroline after one of the main characters.
Legit shit. Not even kidding you. That is where her name came from.
Yes.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the myth and lore surrounding vampires really picked up steam after Bram Stoker's publishing of Dracula, but during the 18th century, and even during the witch trials, people would burn body parts like hearts and organs because they thought other people were vampires, and they thought that would cure them if they ate the ashes
Of a vampire?
of the organs of their dead loved ones who were thought to be vampires.
Huh.
But I mean, it really transformed, and
Like the Salem witch trials all over again.
but like when it was consumption, really, like tuberculosis and diphtheria were running rampant in those days too, and so a lot of people were doing some weird shit to try and cure said illnesses because they thought vampires were coming in the night and taking away their life force and draining them. You know what I mean? So
It was new. You don't know.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting how the imagination warps it and makes a legend into a legend, if that makes sense. But anyway, moving on, because I know you gotta go. We're gonna jump down to Louisiana really quick.
Louisiana.
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 Let's scoot our boots down to Louisiana,
Because that's about.
a place that you and I are destined to visit someday.
Okay.
I haven't had the pleasure to travel there yet, but it's definitely a bucket list place. I did choose Louisiana because of the obvious. It's a superstitious and voodoo capital of the country.
Orleans.
Yeah. It has so much ominous history between the stories of the Ragaroo, a werewolf-like creature that supposedly haunts the southeast bayous and swamps of Louisiana, sucking the blood out of bad people.
Ooh.
Like naughty people.
You get that.
So think of like a Dexter werewolf,
Okay.
if you will. He's out there killing the bad guys.
I wouldn't mind a little werewolf action.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? Hey. To the many sightings of the voodoo queen herself, Miss Marie Laveau, walking the streets of the French Quarter or the cemetery where she's buried. Locals say that if you place a rose on her grave at midnight on her birthday, that you'll actually levitate above her grave. So maybe we should go try that.
What's her birthday?
I don't know. I'll have to Google that. What? There are even tales where the locals will tell you not to follow the light. In the dark depths and the eerie mystique of the swampland unfold many tales of horror and despair. There is a myth originated in the swamps of Louisiana known as a ghostly light or flame. The feu follet. I am not a French speaker, so feu follet. It entrances its visitors into following this light, leading them deeper and deeper into the swamp.
Just get eaten by an alligator.
Yeah, pretty
Crocodile.
much. The subdued
Gator.
follow the light until they are hopelessly lost, never to leave the swamp again. Some say the ball of light is the spirit of a lost child who left its nursery, and others relate it to the spirits of those who lost their lives to protect the buried treasures of such infamous pirates as Jean Lafayette. Either way, if you, for some reason, find yourself in the Louisiana... Why is that so hard? In the Louisiana swamp at night, don't follow the light.
That's the one time to not go towards the light.
Don't go towards the light in Louisiana. There's actually a lot of movies that are based off of this said light or apparition. There's this one movie called, I think it's House. It's been so long since I watched it. I read the book in high school, but it's basically where a couple is making their way to like a reunion or something, and they get lost in the backwoods of Louisiana. And they just keep following the road until they finally stumble upon this house. And it's filled with many demons. And it's actually a really good book. I'm gonna try and remember what it was called. But things get a little less obvious as far as Louisiana's. That's how we're going to say it from now on. Louisiana. Oh, have you ever heard of the Grunch people?
No.
Well, legend has it that in what is
I
now
was waiting for that. Legend has it
that in New Orleans East, a group of exiled and ridiculed people and albino individuals created their own society, the Grunch. The Grunch tried to escape the cruelness they experienced in society because they were different than everyone else. Yeah. Some say that the community became evil and insane, sacrificing and torturing animals. Other renditions of the story say that this is a group of people that lived in the backwood swampland parts of Louisiana for so long that they didn't know anything outside of their own community. And a lot of incest took place. Yeah, and there's even stories. Yeah, there's even stories about that of like backwoods of Kentucky.
So no, okay, that's why they always say if you're down south, you sleep with your cousin. So see, there is some legend out there that made that come to us.
Yeah. So again, if you're wandering the swamplands at night,
don't follow the light.
Don't follow the light, and watch out for the Grunch people. They might take you back to their village and eat ya. No, not really. They just might never let you go. I thought that was interesting. Before I got into this, I didn't want to just jump on and talk about the really infamous ones like Bloody Mary or Hook Hand. Hook Hand derives from New York, actually. Cropsey. Yeah, he was, of course, a guy from an insane asylum who escaped and murdered everyone with a hook hand.
Not very many people.
Like most movies from the 90s and like the early 2000s, the murder in the slasher movies was always the hook-handed guy.
Yeah.
That's based off of Cropsey. Yeah.
You Cropsey.
Cropsey. But, I just, I thought some of those were interesting, and I had so many more stories listed, but if I did all 50 states,
be here forever.
That'd be like a month series. Well, probably even longer than that. But you know what?
The month of October.
That just gears us up for next Halloween.
Done.
We can cover like 5 more states in urban legends, because every place, every region, doesn't matter where you are, there's always something lurking in the dark. So when you try to rationalize the bumps in the night.
Okay, there we go.
Or you try
or
to
the
rationalize
smashing of an apple and then your freaking light goes out.
Yeah. Don't put that in the back of your mind. There's something more to it, fam. And if you have learned anything from the past few spooky episodes I've done, just remember, nothing is as it seems. Anyways, fam, if you enjoyed this episode, we hope that you have a spooktacular Halloween. Yes. Ooh.
I like that.
Ooh. Get dressed up, have a good time.
Drink a drink.
Yeah, be safe, stay wise. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, because now Sarah can partake.
Hey, I just kinked my neck. Ooh.
Now that Alicia hasn't been drinking anymore, Sarah will pick up on the alcoholics portion of this podcast.
I will when I'm done nursing, because it's like 2 hours of like shit.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just come like just with myself, I can have like one drink and then like wait. Happy
Again,
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bitches.
Go find something to scare your
Spooky music, man.
If you want to give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook, you can at Hard Talks with BNH. We are on Patreon.
Hey, yo.
Now that Sarah's back, our naughty readings are going to be starting to come back on Patreon, so definitely keep an eye out for it.
Nice sultry voice.
If you have any ghosty stories or urban legends you want to share with us, you can email into hardtalkswithbnh@gmail.com. But until next week, guys, we love you. And Sarah,
Next time.
we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Glad you bye. Hard talk with Dr.
Yeah.